Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. Let's talk a little bit about New Orleans Saints as they continue mini camp over in Metairie. And one of the things that I have noticed as I've read from some writers that have been there, as I've listened to some sound from the players and coaches, as I've seen some video, one of the things that has stood out, and admittedly not a massively news-packed minicamp, has been Alvin Kamara's activity as a pass catcher. Whether that be out of the backfield, whether that be from the slot, whether that be down the field, or whether that be around the line of scrimmage. And for those of us that have watched the Saints over the years, since Alvin joined them in 2017, you know that pass catching is very much a big part of his game. His first 3 seasons as a New Orleans Saint, he caught exactly 81 passes. Then he upped that to 83 in Drew Brees' final year of 2020. But since Drew Brees moved on, in 13 games in 2021, only 47 catches. And last year in 15 games, only 57 catches. He was north of 5.5 catches a game early in his career, and last year was under 4. The last 2 years has been under 4. And so most of the things you talk about 2-3 years after a quarterback and 2 years after a coach moves on have nothing to do with what you saw 3, 4, 5 years ago when those two were there. But Pete Carmichael is still there. So you would figure that a lot of the concepts would still be the same. However, the execution of it has not been there. The Saints quarterback play the last 2 years hasn't been good. It's been musical chairs, whether it's been Jameis, whether it's been Andy Dalton. You throw Taysom Hill in there a little bit. Every once in a while, you get an Ian Book start. And you realize that you're not going to be as efficient as you were with Drew Brees back there. But now you've got a quarterback that should be able to handle this and get Alvin Kamara more involved catching the football. I would imagine that Alvin Kamara's catches per game would go back up towards 5, 5.5, 6 catches a game. That's the way that I would view it. However, how many games is he going to play? That's what we don't know. We know when he's out there, he's going to be involved in the pass game. And we know that Derek Carr, while not Drew Brees, is very capable of getting him the football. We don't know how often he's going to be out there. So the question is, when he's not, because we assume there's going to be missed time at some point, at least I do, are there other guys that can incorporate that into their game? I'm not asking you to be as good as Alvin Kamara, because he's one of the best in the league in the screen game. But Pierre Thomas wasn't as good as Alvin Kamara in terms of his physical gifts, and he was every bit as good as Kamara in the screen game. So can Kendre Miller give you that? You used him, used a draft pick on him. And if you look back at TCU, he was not really involved in the passing game for TCU. As a sophomore, his first time to really get a lot of game action, he had 12 catches in 10 games. As a junior in 14 games, he had 16 catches. TCU did not use him in the passing game. Now, if you listen to Dennis Allen talk, he says that Kendre Miller can do a lot of the same things that Alvin Kamara could do. Now, eventually, you kind of assume that that means to take his place. But I think in the short term, this year, it's can he do it when Alvin's not there? And that remains to be seen. I'm not a scout. I'm not at minicamp. I'm not at practice. I've never worked Kendre Miller out. I know he wasn't asked to do it at TCU. That certainly doesn't mean he can't. But he hasn't proven that. And then you look at Jamal Williams, who they brought in from Detroit. And when I say Jamal Williams, you immediately say, led the NFL in rushing touchdowns. How about the passing game? And in his 2 years in Detroit, he hasn't been a big weapon in the passing game. 26 catches 2 years ago. And last year, when he leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns with 17, he made 12 catches. So that's not something he's done recently. However, you go back to his earlier years in Green Bay when he had a really, really good quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, and there was a little bit more. 25 catches, 27 catches, 39 catches, a career high in 2019. And he had 5 touchdown catches that year. So he just hasn't been asked to do it. This now presents itself as kind of the unknown. We think Kendre Miller can come out of the backfield and make plays. We think Jamal Williams can come out of the backfield and get plays and make plays. We know Alvin Kamara is, but we think he's going to miss some time. So Kamara's ability is undeniable. The question is he going to be out there? And then if he's not, can these guys pick up the slack? I tend to think they can. I think it's likely that Kendre Miller handles more of that workload than Jamal Williams. I think Jamal Williams is being brought in here to play the Mark Ingram feature back role, not last year's Mark Ingram. That guy's washed. The prime Mark Ingram who leads the Saints in rushing all time. That's the guy that Jamal Williams is being brought in to be. They're not trying to bring him in here, pushing his upper 20s to become a different player. I think they drafted a player that's 21 in Kendre Miller to evolve his game to become that third down option, that check down option, that Alvin Kamara-esque option when the time calls. Maybe Kamara misses 3 games. Maybe it's 6. Maybe it's 10. I don't know. When he's out there, we don't have to worry. But when he's not, can Kendre Miller be that guy? I think very likely. I don't think the Saints take this pick on Kendre Miller if they don't think he's a weapon out of the backfield. I think that was very much in their line of thinking in terms of restocking the shelves at running back, which was an absolute must in this offseason. Ingram moves along. You look at some of the guys you trotted out there late in the season. We got to find younger, more capable players. And they obviously targeted Jamal Williams, who was going to be a workhorse for them. And they had to find a guy in the draft at some point that could help them in the Kamara role. Whether that's when Kamara's out this year or whether that's when Kamara moves on from the New Orleans Saints. And they identified Kendre Miller as that guy. If they did not think he could go out there and make 55 catches, 60 catches in a year, I don't think they drafted. It makes too much sense to put these puzzle pieces together in the backfield and realize what they were thinking. So while Kamara has stolen the show in minicamp and has really wowed David Carr, he's not always going to be there. And I think Kendre Miller is the next man up. I'm comfortable with the Saints running back room. I think they've done a good job of addressing that. I have my reservations. I wouldn't say doubts. I have my reservations about the guys they brought in on the defensive line who have kind of been role players early in their NFL career. I have reservations about the decision to bring Derek Carr in. I have reservations about the interior offensive line at times. I think the running back room's in good shape. Now, you get a suspension for Kamara and somebody tweaks an ankle, you're back in some trouble. But right now, as we sit here in the middle of June, I think the Saints running back room is in good shape with a healthy Kamara who could be out there, with Jamal Williams in a role that we know he can excel in, and Kendre Miller becoming the next versatile back for the New Orleans Saints. And I think that's exactly what they're going to get with him. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.